Anyways, there was this huge crowd, and like they pushed the crowd apart, and like everyone went to one side, and me and my friends went to the other, and I was very inebriated. And she got out of the car, and I literally just like put my arm around her. I was like, "Say I'm hot, say I'm hot," and she was like, "You're hot."
Oh my god.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to A Little About a Lot. My name is Kelsey.
And my name is Becky.
And we are the Sorry Girls, and we have another special guest today. It's been so exciting recently on the podcast.
Yes, we recently had Allegra Shaw, and that was awesome. And then today, we have Greg and Mitch from asapSCIENCE.
Hi.
Let's do a hi, Greg.
Hello.
And hi, Mitch.
Hello.
That's just like to get the voices. I hate when you're listening to a podcast, especially
Who's
when
who?
when there's a lot of people.
Mine's gayer. But that's not a bad thing. Why would I ever say that's a bad thing? It's a great thing.
No, it's just distinctive.
Distinctive, yes. Gay AF.
So Greg and Mitch have a channel called asapSCIENCE. They've been on YouTube a while. They're, I would say, one of the OGs as far as like
7.5 years.
how long
You guys
are
are
we?
longer, aren't you? Yeah.
We're longer.
Yeah, we are not. I feel like we mesh with some of the OGs because they were also like our age. As are you guys.
Well,
like,
and
so
you
many-
got. I think your growth, I think, was pretty fast,
we got,
right?
Yeah, kind of lucky in that sense that it kind of blew up
Yeah.
at the time that a lot of those OGs.
Wait, how long have you been doing it?
We have been on YouTube in 2020. October 2020 will be our 10th 10-year anniversary.
Yeah.
Wow.
So 9
Yeah,
years.
so and we're gonna have a very exciting year for sure. Gonna have a big party, decade
Nice.
party. But yeah, like we've had steady growth, but we didn't like pop off at any time. Like we still have less subscribers than you, but a healthy 1.8 million or something.
Subscribers don't matter,
Yeah,
babes.
nowadays, especially subscribers don't matter.
It's
a vanity
algorithms
number.
But you guys do have over 8 million subscribers on YouTube, which is insane. And you do. I'll let you describe what you do because you probably can describe it better than I can.
You go, Mitch.
Yeah, well, it's kind of evolved over time, but it started as just like ASAP standing for either as soon as possible, so quick videos that are as simple as possible. So we just wanted to like make science fun and interesting for people by asking questions that they might already ask themselves, like how much sleep do I actually need, or like how is coffee actually affecting my brain, as opposed to doing questions that are like school questions. So it's just this idea of how can we do these whiteboard videos that quickly analyze something that would be fun for somebody who thinks they don't like science. Basically.
Exactly.
And then
like,
over time, we've like played with the format a bit, but it's generally had the same idea.
Science is kind of behind every question that you have if you actually think about it.
Yeah, it's true. It is. That's like what has made our job, especially at the beginning, quite easy. We're like, everything's science. Now there's a lot of channels that do similar things to us, so it's like a little harder to be like inventive.
Yeah.
But science does explain everything.
That is true.
Like most people's lives intersect somewhere with science, and so our job has always been like, how do we catch them there? Like it's always how do we cast the net so like people who think they hate it in school or thought it was boring now realize, oh, it can be interesting if I just change my perspective on like what counts as science.
It's so true. I thought of you guys recently because, well, not recently. I guess it was last winter. I was on an airplane
Wow.
and they were defrosting the plane. Defrosting, which is so weird to me because they do it before you go.
Yeah, they like
Into
spray
the
all
Wait,
that
when they
stuff.
spray it with like the weird pink stuff.
Oh my God, it's every
Yeah.
color. It looks like you're in a car wash. And they do like
Yeah.
so many different layers of all different kinds of things. And I was like, what is this? Like, this has to be horrible for the
I
environment.
know, because it's like, what? I'm actually not even sure what the chemical actually is. But the fact that it looks like that, I'm like, it's definitely so that they can know that's what this is. And
That's
when
true.
you get
That's
rid of it in a certain
true.
way, it can't blend in with water or with snow.
Yeah, that is true. They have to like know, like we sprayed the blue stuff and the pink stuff and the green
Yes,
stuff.
and we can see it all.
That's
Yeah.
what I'm always scared of flying. I'm like, we do, like, well, obviously we shouldn't be flying in the middle of winter. Like, it just is like,
Yeah.
we're like, we need this crazy chemical to get you off the ground.
It's so true. Oh my
Oh
gosh.
my God,
Yeah.
it's so scary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess you don't have a video on what
We
that
do not.
car
no.
wash
But we
stuff
do
is.
we did have one about
Like the Airbus.
what you should do
or
in
no,
a
what?
plane crash.
Oh yeah.
What should you do? What are the quick tips?
Like it was about all the most common ways that planes had gone down after like when everyone was talking about them. This is like so dark. I'm like, why did we make that video?
know what's
But-
topical, know what's hot.
Yeah, but okay, it's sort of a bit of a sidetrack, but I'm like, I think everyone needs to know this. But essentially, they're gonna try and bring back the Max 8, like that plane that like
Shoot.
continued to go down. And as of January 1st, Boeing might start and make people actually go on these planes.
Why?
And I'm telling you, because they're making so many of them, and the whole flight industry relies on these planes that
Yeah.
they're expecting to get over the next 10 years. And so they're saying that they like fixed the
Oh,
issue,
no.
but I read a bunch of articles that they didn't. So do not get on those planes. To everyone listening, do
How
not
do
get on the
you-
Max 8.
How do you know if you're trip is taking that plane.
So when you're Googling and actually deciding on your trip, it'll tell you the plane that you're going to get on. So we were just like looking into a flight for something, and it's like, we're like, Airbus 230. Okay, cool. Airbus, good one.
Max 8, no good.
Yeah, Boeing Max 8. So be careful. But then they're going to maybe start switching it like day of.
And they'll change the name,
not
I'm sure.
intentionally, but it's like often flights get the plane sometimes gets changed. So it's just kind of like you could be at the airport and not be booked on that flight, but maybe they have to rearrange. Like,
so as of January, you might hear interesting stories of people refusing to get on flights and like the whole flight industry trying to deal with this issue. I know it is. Oh my god! And we do not need to start with truly death. Okay.
Wow, we got into that real hot.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll tone it back.
Yeah, I'm like, we don't need to talk about our video about planes crashing.
We can bring it back to something later. Usually at the beginning of our podcast, we just talk about what we did this week, what's new and exciting. What did you do this week, Kelsey?
Well, actually, yesterday we went to a little workshop at Google. Greg was there. Mitch, you can tell us why you weren't there in a second.
Ooh, the tea.
The tea.
Spill the tea. The physiological background.
And I went to the dentist this morning.
Oh, nice.
And I got a clean bill of health.
Do you like the dentist?
Yeah, I don't mind the dentist.
Wait.
Oh my gosh. Can I tell you a little funny story? So Daniella went to a dentist near us, and then Daniella's like, yeah, this is a good dentist. And Becky's like, sweet, I want to switch my dentist. So she went to this new dentist. And then I was like, yeah, like my dentist is older and like not chill and further away from where I currently live. So I was like, I'm going to go try this dentist. Yeah, we all love it.
This is awesome.
They have 2 TVs, one in front of you for when you're sitting up, and they have one
my
above.
God.
Like they
Wait, you watch TV?
like
Yes.
Netflix.
They have Disney
Plus.
This dentist
Wow,
is
you've
like,
been
We'll let you guys know.
researched,
We
I
know
guess.
you're in our area, so if you need to switch up your dentist.
Wait, so what do you watch? Like whatever, do you choose?
Well, today, yeah, she was like, what do you want to watch? And in my head, I was like, can we go to like season 3, episode 4 of The Crown? But I was like, that might be getting
no, they told me. I was like, oh, what do people ask for? She's like, well, sometimes they get really specific and say, I'm on this show, this season, this episode partway
Wow,
through.
that's
And
so
she's like, I don't
smart.
care. That's fine.
Right.
Oh, I felt
gosh.
too awkward doing that.
Yeah.
So I was just like, oh, what? She's like, usually people do like Friends, or it was Chef's Table. And then she put on Chef's Table, and they're like cutting off chicken heads. And I was like, ugh. I do not want to see this.
She's like, sorry, you're throwing up in your mouth. I'm trying to clean this.
she's like, stop gagging. Please open your mouth.
That's like so cool. I'm surprised more people haven't figured that out.
Right?
My
know.
dentist does not have that.
Not at all.
I'm wondering if it's like overpriced, but I just don't even know what a like
No, all
standard
dentists are
regular
pretty
price
overpriced.
for a
They're-
dentist.
That's sick. Oh my
Honestly,
God,
take
that's
some
so
of my money
smart.
to pay for a Netflix subscription.
Yeah.
It's worth it.
And Disney Plus even. Should have been like, I want to watch Lion King.
I know. I
coulda.
should have said my friends told me there's Disney Plus. Let's go watch some Lizzie McGuire. That would have been so much better than Chef's Table. What was I thinking?
I'm so curious about the layout of even Disney Plus. I haven't even looked.
Yeah,
do you know what I
I
mean? I
Oh,
wanna
you
know
guys
what it
have to
looks
dive
like.
in.
Do you have it?
Yeah.
Did you pay for it?
Yeah.
Well, how else would you
That
do
Disney
I don't know, like a
sponsorship, we
free little week or something. I don't know.
They don't really do that, eh?
I don't know. I don't have
Trials?
Disney Plus, so I don't know.
Yeah. Well, my boyfriend bought it, and then I just.
You've been satisfied so far? Like you enjoy it?
I
guess,
mean,
like,
yeah.
if
I'm waiting for the Lizzie McGuire show.
Oh,
Okay,
right.
because our recent podcast was about the streaming wars and like what we think is gonna happen. I think Disney Plus is gonna win and buy. I think Netflix is gonna suffer, and I think Disney Plus is gonna buy Netflix.
Okay, who do you think is gonna win?
Who do you think's gonna win the streaming wars? If there could be one.
I feel like HBO is definitely a competitor for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, Netflix, I just haven't been like super. I feel like I shouldn't say much because Homegirl wants a show on one of these platforms
Yeah,
eventually.
Take me, anyone.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's hard because it's getting so split up. Yeah, I feel like honestly, Netflix did used to be better, but now they're taking Disney stuff off of it. And
Yeah.
there's Crave, which is Canadian only, but that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Crave is
Amazon
good because it
Prime.
has
I know.
HBO.
Yes.
And it will continue to. HBO Max is their streaming service and is not going to take like Crave will
still
have
get it.
Yeah.
everything for
If anyone
HBO.
from Crave is listening, we are also Canadian girls, also developing content, and would love to talk.
It's true.
So you would do a show for Crave. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Because I feel like, oh my God, you could definitely have a show on Crave.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
Thank
Wow,
you.
we're manifesting AF over
Yes.
here.
Close my eyes. Boom. Gonna happen.
Yeah, I low-key got Crave just so I could watch Drag Race, but
Yes.
now I'm hooked on other things on Crave.
Oh.
Yeah. What do you
good.
watch on Crave?
Isn't there that? Oh, what's that show? Dollface? Is that on Crave?
Oh yeah. What is that about? I've
I'm
only
not
seen
too
ads
far
for
into it, but
Okay.
it's got a really interesting cast.
Okay,
which is
cool.
great.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wait, what were we talking about?
Oh,
My
our
week.
weeks.
Yeah.
Weeks. What did you
Okay.
guys do this week?
Oh my God.
Well, I wasn't at that event because I
Yeah.
hurt my back. I have this weird back problem that's reoccurring, and I've been trying to figure it out for years. And I go to like physiotherapists and trainers and stuff, and it's like been happening for probably about a decade, where it just like will randomly
That's
spasm
so
out.
stressful.
Yeah, I think more and more that it's just linked to stress. Like if I'm overstressed, I don't necessarily think I'm that stressed, but I feel like my body just carries it, and then one
Yeah.
day it'll just. I won't even be doing anything weird. It never
I know,
happens
it's
when
so
I'm like
random.
exercising or anything. It's always when I'm just like sitting on a couch, not moving, and suddenly it just like spazzes up.
Wow.
And then it's gotten better since I've been with a trainer. Like it recovers much faster.
Okay,
It used
okay.
to take. I would be like a week in bed, like unable to walk around for 3 days, and then just like laying down. Now a couple days, and I start to feel like okay, I can function normally. Depends how bad it is. So yeah, I'm just like an old man these days.
No, that's scary. Like unsolved
like body
health
problems,
are so scary.
Yeah.
Back problem. I feel
And everyone
so
I
bad for
ask,
you.
like I've asked a doctor, I've asked like there's no real answer because I guess everyone's body's different.
Yeah.
It's just like
And whenever I Google, like, okay, what should you do? It's like, you rest for 6 weeks. I was like, oh my God. Like, it's like they never have, there's no fix.
Yeah.
That's like good.
that's why I'm like, yeah, I just need to like learn a little better stress management.
But you've
Yes,
been like also like
more
working
spa
out
days.
at a place that helps you, right?
Say again?
You've been working out at a place that's helped your back a lot.
Oh yeah, like since I've started working out, it has improved. I used to have chronic pain, so it used to be like every day I'd be like, how bad is it today?
Yeah.
Now it's like I can go months without it feeling anything, and it just might still spasm every couple of months, but
Right.
like, it doesn't hurt me every day now, so I'm improving.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, working out solves so many things.
I know, all of it, including happiness.
Yeah, I'm perfectly happy now.
Did you say that you went to a physiotherapist for it as well?
Yeah, physiotherapist, and then now I work with just like a trainer, or it's like a
okay.
training gym where there's a bunch of trainers, but like they really focus on like mobility and movement as opposed to
that's
like
great.
trying to be like buff or anything. So I'm working out with like a lot of elderly people,
Yeah.
but it's honestly been so helpful. Like definitely like focusing on core and focusing on the bottom half of my body, because you realize like so much of you becomes misaligned. Like even when you walk, like your gait, like we're practicing like to make sure I'm actually engaging both
Oh
sides.
my God, I need that. I feel like I
Because-
walk like a troll. I do. Whenever I see myself walk, I'm like, what the frick is
Well,
wrong
even
with
if
me?
When do
think
you
of
see
little
yourself
things like-
walk?
Like in a video or
Oh,
something.
okay.
Like walking down the street, I'm like, oh my God, I have flat feet.
Yeah, it's crazy how much of that is related. I had like a bad shoulder. It sounds like
Literally,
a
they
you
could be
thing.
like,
It's
like
chronic
your-
forever.
Could
But
be your calf that's causing like the misalignment
yeah,
that leads up.
I
to
found
the-
out a lot of it is my back. Like my back is really weak, so therefore my shoulder is taking on extra weight when
Right.
it shouldn't be. And like I assumed this was the ish, but it's
Yeah,
like
you-
another part of you that you
Totally.
never would know, right? It's also related.
But working
like
out
that.
has helped that, right?
Yeah, well, a physiotherapist honestly like changed my life. I'd gone to chiropractors, acupuncture. Like I tried everything.
And then
massages.
physio kind of like ended up working.
Yeah,
the
because
best.
she was the first one to tell me, well, actually, I know
It's
your
not
shoulder's the one
there.
that hurts,
Yeah.
but like that's not the root issue.
Yeah, and physio really often give you things to do alone. Like the
Yeah.
goal of physiotherapist is usually to stop seeing
Yes.
you, whereas a lot of other practices it's to come back on a regular basis. Like
Yes.
they give you exercises that hopefully stop the problem. So yeah.
Know what I did yesterday?
What? Tell
After
us.
our thing, I had a comedy show and we gave out the prizes, and the prizes were those 2 Google Homes that they gave us. And people were going crazy for the
No
Google Homes.
way.
Yeah.
That's
They were like,
hell-
for real? I got the Google Home?
It's also like on sale for Black Friday for like $30.
Are you serious?
Canadian.
I
Don't tell
literally
them.
said $150 value. I just made it up.
And they're like,
Heck.
yeah.
After someone was like, I think you got this free with a Netflix subscription. I was like, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
They were hyped. They were hyped.
No, what they had to do to win it too. I once stole Paris Hilton sunglasses out of her car. Long story, but because she was going to a club and they had to guess which club was Paris Hilton going to in 2009. That at this event I went to her car and took her glasses and stole them.
Wait, can I know this story?
Yeah, do you want to know this?
Yes, absolutely.
It's
How
great.
did you know Paris Hilton in 2009?
I didn't.
Okay.
Okay, so I was at the MIA concert. Do you know MIA?
Yeah.
Is a
Yeah.
musician, in 2009. Yeah. I was wearing a pink shirt that said "Made in the '80s." Be cool.
Yeah.
And then like when I left, there was like this crazy crowd in front of this club. The answer to this question of which club was the government. Do you remember that?
Oh, okay.
In Toronto.
Yeah,
In
yeah,
Toronto.
yeah.
It's now
That's
dead.
funny. I was talking about this on a podcast episode a while ago. I forget why.
About government?
Yeah, I think it was because it was like that was like the first club I had ever gone to. Or
You
something.
went to it? I'd never even been. It was beside Cool House.
Yes.
The coolest
Cool House with a K.
in Toronto.
Yeah,
Yeah. And
that's right.
H-A-U-S.
Yeah.
Yes.
Cool
House.
House. Yeah.
That's
Both
right.
gone. Anyways, there was this huge crowd and like they pushed the crowd apart and like everyone went to one side and me and my friends went to the other and I was very inebriated and she got out of the car and I literally just like put my arm around her and was like, say I'm hot, and she was like, you're hot.
Oh
And
my god.
there's a documentary on CBC about Paris Hilton, and I looked up, I found it yesterday, and our friend Aaliyah is in it too. And it goes, Paris Hilton has crazy fans, and then it cuts to a clip of me going, I freaking love you, Paris.
Stop.
Yeah.
Stop.
And then my friend, I didn't know, but in the documentary, she goes, you're so legit, you're the most legit person on the whole planet.
Stop it.
And we both didn't know Paris Hilton. Like, I never even really watched A Simple Life. Like, I want to watch it now, but everyone says it's so good.
It's great.
Everything just died down, and her SUV was just sitting there, and we were so drunk that we just opened the door and got in. And you know that song, like, you had a bad day?
Yes.
That was playing, and I was reading the
Why
house.
was it playing? Oh, she
It
had
was
a
like
driver? She had a driver?
The driver wasn't there. It was just like music was blasting in this car. It was so surreal and weird. And then the House of Wax script was like in the glove compartment,
my
and I was like
God.
reading it, and then my friend was like, run, and so I thought like obviously we were in trouble, and then she's like, I got her glasses. I should have brought them. And I still
You
have
still
her
have them?
Christian Dior sunglasses.
Still has
Shut
Yeah.
That is
Yeah, yeah,
iconic.
I brought-
back and forth. Like they would like take turns.
Yeah, we
who
take
got to
turns.
keep the
And they're
glasses.
so funny. I should have brought them. They're like these big bug glasses. And if you Google Paris Hilton, Christian Dior sunglasses 2009, you can like see her like leaving LA restaurants with them on.
I'm dead. That's the greatest.
Oh my
story.
god, I
Yeah.
can't believe you did that. You are a straight up criminal.
No, yeah, it's
I know,
fully
and you're
that.
like admitting it.
Yeah,
You're
like,
right.
I stole
Yeah,
them
you
from
know
her.
what the title of this podcast is going to be. Like, we can't not. I'm
For
sorry.
some reason, I'm like, it's punching up. It's Paris Hilton. Who cares? But yeah. Also, when we went back, these people were just unscrewing the license plate of the SUV. Fully took the license plate off of the car. I have
What?
no idea why they left.
Yeah,
the
Where'd
car
that's
the
there.
weird.
driver go?
It was so weird.
And
Like
why'd
to
they
this
leave the
day,
car
I
unlocked?
don't understand why I was even able to just like grab her. I'm like, where were her people? And in the video,
Canada.
she goes like this. Like she makes a wincing face and takes my arm off of her, and she like moves it. I'll show you after.
I need to watch that documentary
it's-
immediately.
Oh my
it's
after.
gosh.
crazy.
I recently followed like an account on Instagram that was all about Paris Hilton, and I was like, I don't know why, but I don't know.
Have
Somebody
you
was-
heard of this Netflix show about influencers and
Yeah,
why
she's
all
in
influencers
it.
are sad?
It-
Apparently, that's the thesis.
But she's in it, yeah, and I didn't know, but
Like, she's
she's
considered
like the
the
first
original
influencer,
influencer, right?
yeah, and like has sleepovers with her fans.
What?
Maybe I'm wrong.
Wait,
No, but-
someone told me this last night because we
Yeah.
were talking about it. She's like, she like texts with her
Yeah,
fans,
yeah,
like,
yeah. She's
every day.
like-
And I was like, what?
Yeah, she's like more influencer than like the influencers.
Well, didn't she have that show that was like Paris Hilton's new best friend or something?
Yeah, I
Oh,
think so.
And it was
right,
like
after
regular
Nicole
people.
Richie, like,
Yeah.
But yeah, she'll like travel somewhere and like hang out with her fans in the area.
Remember the rumor that Paris Hilton's like so smart? Is that true? Did you remember that? Everyone would be like,
Yeah.
she's actually the smartest. Like she's
People
like
say
in
that
tech.
now about
like she's
like
at
Kim
MIT.
Kardashian as well, right?
Yeah, I
they're,
know.
like they're actually geniuses, and they just play up being these kind of like.
I mean,
bimbo.
Which is like
Maybe.
crazy. Like
Probably.
but
it
then
makes
with
them
Paris
more
Hilton-
relatable, I guess.
Yeah.
More interesting.
But over time with Paris Hilton, I'm like, oh, I don't know if I've ever like. I thought by now we would like know for sure. She hasn't like broken.
It would come out.
Yeah, like she's a DJ. Red flag. Okay, anyway.
That's so funny.
Hilarious. Okay, so what? How do I go from there?
So we're
Okay.
gonna take a super quick break, and then we'll get into our actual topic after.
Sounds good. And we're back from a break.
Hello.
That was a great break.
Felt good.
Okay, so we briefly touched about like how long we've all been on YouTube. But
Yeah.
I don't even know that much about like when you guys started or how you guys even met. Can you tell us?
How?
You go ahead.
Yeah. So I guess.
Well, we met
in
in
university.
2006/7.
Yeah, I'm like, oh my god, dates were so
time ago.
old.
We've been together like 13 years or so.
Yeah. as a couple.
Congratulations, that's
Wow.
awesome.
Crazy.
And then whenever we're giving like talks about like asapSCIENCE, we're like, and then we fell in love with science and with each other. It's like always our line.
I love
Oh my god, we
that.
do?
That's why I always put that in.
That's the line.
So that was like how many years before asapSCIENCE then? It
We've
was
done
like,
asapSCIENCE for like 7.5 years. So
Oh,
like,
cool.
almost
So we like, yeah, we met at the University of Guelph. in first year, really. Literally in science class, which is like a lol.
I wasn't
so
even
on the
out.
nose.
So,
I was gonna say, were you out at the time?
Greg was.
I was out and thriving. It was crazy.
That's why I was like, oh, there's a gay person.
Yeah. It was actually at the time on Facebook, you could search interested in men, interested in, like, people would put their
I feel like I remember. I do
preference.
remember.
It was
that.
a little
Yeah.
like a dating web. Like, it wasn't a dating website, but
But
you
for
could
gay
look-
people, it was really
Yeah, I
important.
would like look up who else was gay before I was.
Yeah,
even
you
though
could
my
go
profile
University
didn't
of
say.
Guelph and you could search literally by interested in men. So like every out gay person who was willing to put that on their Facebook would come up.
Because
There's
there's no other really good dating apps back
At the
then.
Yeah.
time, no, there was
Yeah.
no
And
grinder.
Other than, or there was maybe like plenty of fish and stuff. But
Yeah,
it was
but-
just at your school. It
But
was
you
so
could
much
find out
easier
at
to use
Guelph. It was
Facebook,
actually
yeah.
like really like it
That's
was
awesome.
very
That's very
important, I
interesting.
guess. So you used that because you weren't out because you wouldn't
Yeah.
have.
Yeah, yeah.
And Mitch like messaged me, and I remember like there was like someone who looked like Mitch, who like I'd always walk by and be like, "That's the guy messaging me." And then I saw
Was it?
you were like way cuter. I'm like, "Oh my god, that guy's way cuter. That's actually Mitch." Okay, I'll respond. And then I responded.
Hopefully he's not listening to this. He's like,
No,
"Oh, that's
he
me."
doesn't know who he is.
Yeah, so we just like started studying
And
together.
our first date was literally studying for science.
Yeah.
And Mitch
Aw.
like was like and it's still an issue in our relationship, which is that I'm too loud in public.
Yeah, he would be talking about like being gay, and I'd be like, "Shh, like I'm not out. Don't tell anyone." Like,
But that's what you say. But now if I talk even at a
You're just
restaurant, you're like,
loud.
shut the fuck up.
Yeah, we just like we both had the same degree after school. Like it just kind of morphed into wanting to do science stuff together. Greg was like a teacher, and I had worked in labs, and then that kind of morphed into ASAP Science. Eventually.
But also you were working like with people who understood YouTube at the time, and I was a teacher hanging out with kids who were like, it was amazing at the time. They're like, we only watch YouTube, and that was a long time ago even. So like there were weird circumstances that made us go onto YouTube more confidently.
Right.
Then. That's
And you
how
guys
we
are
ended
like
up there.
dating during this time.
Yeah.
This was after university is when we started ASAP Science. But
So was it someone's specific idea to start the channel, or had that conversation
I
come
think
up?
it was more your idea because you were working
I was
with
like
YouTubers.
working with some people like just outside of Toronto, and I had met like, do you guys know who like Gunnarola or Andrew
Yeah.
Huang?
Yeah,
Like, you know
yeah.
them, right?
Yeah.
So I had kind of met them, and that exposed me to like that whole world and a handful of other creators that don't necessarily make stuff anymore, and then started living with people and like making content as just like an editor. Like I left my job because I was like, that sounds so cool, and from there was exposed around it all the time. And then one day I was like, Greg, we should make something like about science.
And we were also really sad because like you leave university and no one's forcing you to learn anymore. Like I was
Yeah.
like panicking. I was like, I need to be forced to learn science or else I'm gonna fall so behind and never know about
That's
it
so
again.
It is
interesting.
true.
Like,
Yeah.
who worries about that after school? Like, I'm never gonna have to do class again. But
Well-
like, that's so cool. I
Yeah,
love
well,
that.
I guess I still am like obsessed with learning. So I
Well,
guess, and as a teacher, you're kind of. I was like, okay, as a teacher, I'll be forced, but you're just gonna actually most likely teach the same curriculum over and
Yeah,
over. Like
right.
it's not
That's right.
like you'll know with necessarily the cutting edge science. So that was a big part about us wanting to do it. And then honestly, I was like talking to students and being like, okay, it's
Would
not.
you watch this?
Yeah, and I was also like using literal YouTube science videos. Like there's this other science YouTuber named Veritasium that we hang out with all
Yes.
the time now, and I'm like, it's kind of funny because like
you
I
would
used to use his videos in class all the
Oh.
time. I didn't really even think about it like, oh, maybe I'd ever know him, and like they were just such good resources.
Yeah.
So it was like, now I'm like, how long has he been doing it? Because his videos were even similar then too. But yeah, so it was like the stars aligned definitely in a way. Like it wasn't very. We weren't like we're gonna be YouTubers. This
Yeah.
is why it was sort of like okay.
Yeah,
I'll
these
think
things
about
kind
it.
of fell into place and meeting people and just being like, let's just try this. And then gave ourselves that rule that was like, let's give it a year. Let's just commit. We had the advantage of knowing some people that did it. So we were like, let's like be consistent. Let's kind of like make some branding around it. Whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
And
sat
then-
under a tree and thought of names.
Yeah, we like kind of went into it with some
And
ideas.
you ASAP Science was yours, and mine was Ever Wonder.
Wow.
Whoa, that's such a One Direction name. Ever Wonder by One Direction.
That's an
so
album
true.
title.
And I would have loved at the
absolutely.
time too. Although I remember I was convinced with ASAP Science because I was obsessed with ASAP Rocky at the time, and I was like, okay, fine.
Oh,
Maybe he'll
cool.
tweet us. Never happened.
He's tweeting you to be like, copyright.
yeah. I'm like, there's no dollar symbol as an S, so- but maybe we'd be more popular if there was.
Kesha.
Yeah, exactly.
When did
Real
you
trend.
guys? I guess maybe you were like, you don't want to. You probably said this a lot.
No, but go ahead.
Yeah, like what was your origin story?
Yeah, we also met in not university, but college, film school.
First year as well.
First
yeah,
year.
I love that you guys went to film school.
And the same way, I mean, I don't know if you saw a lack of science videos online, but we saw a lack of DIY videos online, and we were looking to make something and we wanted to share it. So
But what was where did that whole like DIY aspect come from if you were at film school?
We were both just like crafty also.
Yeah, it's just a passion. Like I'd always loved like designing and decorating and a little bit of fashion.
Yeah.
And then did you guys know that about each other, or how did you find out?
How did that come up? Because
I
like
don't know.
our first video ever was a Halloween tutorial costume.
Oh, really?
It was
Yeah.
like the first Halloween at college, and we're like, we have to have cool costumes.
Oh
And
my
we
God.
wanted to do like best friend costumes, and I guess it probably just came up because we were both like, well, we don't want to buy something because it's way too expensive and not creative enough. So we're like, oh, we'll make them, and then I was like, I know how to sew. I can sew us something, and then like,
Yeah, I think I was
That's
just like,
cool.
oh, that's sick. That like you know how to do that. I love doing that, and then it just I don't know,
yeah,
it just happened.
So
And
then
then-
like the film school aspect of it though, that's like the editing and the
yeah, and like the filming stuff. So that definitely helped.
Yeah, like I liked making short films, but it's like, okay, what do you make them about?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
let's make them about making cool stuff, you know?
Nice.
Oh my God, did you have to unlearn everything in film school? Because isn't it like YouTube, like
Yes.
all the wrong things?
Yeah, definitely. Like the jump cuts and stuff.
Yeah.
Like that's a sin in film school to have jump cuts, but on
Yeah.
YouTube it's like you have to every 5 seconds.
The rule.
Yeah.
Do you have any like peers who have gone on to become filmmakers?
Yeah, we have a lot of friends in the film industry. I mean, I don't think too many are in like very traditional film. Like a lot of people are doing things themselves, or I think we have a lot of like post-production friends.
Who would be like editors and stuff?
Yeah, like editors or like lots of animation and stuff or sound.
For like
for like
movies
big,
and
yeah,
stuff,
some like our friend Connor, he does big movies and stuff.
Yeah.
because there is Hollywood North, right? That's
Oh
what-
yeah, it's a
That's
thing
right.
and it's thriving.
I know.
I know. If we didn't end up on YouTube, we definitely would have had some good options and opportunities.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah. Go
Have you
to
seen
film,
Parasite?
kids. Parasite?
The movie?
No.
Oh, okay, no, just go watch it.
Wait, is it new?
Is it new?
Yeah,
It's like it's
so
a Korean
good.
film, but it was like a wide release. And stuff.
Oh
It's
wait,
really-
this sounds super familiar.
Yeah,
does
I
it's
think I've
just-
seen the trailer.
I think people are probably gonna. It is the best. Like you saw it.
It's really good. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But it's
Like
kind of
Oscar?
messed up.
Yeah, I think it's a
probably
win.
for best foreign film.
I think
yeah.
that they could figure out how to make it win like the whole thing.
the
But-
actual.
Dude, they
They can do anything at the Oscars. let's
No,
be
but I mean, it's
honest.
like
They can
gaining
figure it
enough
out.
like
Yeah.
traction. It's so good. It's like it's a metaphor for capitalism.
Oh.
Whilst being, like, I don't want to give too much away, but it's like
'Kay.
thrilling, and I feel like if you went to film school, you'd be like,
Yeah.
perfect movie.
That's sweet. I gotta go watch it
Entertaining,
now.
interesting, so good.
Into it.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So then you guys did that for during college, and then after, like, when did you make the decision to like make this a bigger thing than just you guys?
Oh, that
I
was.
think it started as a hobby, but we always obviously had the hope that it could become something bigger.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Greg went away to teach in England, and there was just a point where.
Which is fucked.
Are we allowed to swear on this podcast?
Oh.
Yeah, you are.
Okay.
I think it was just a point where it took off so much that, and we were getting inquiries from like all different people. Like
We worked with Bill Nye in the first year.
it was
And
like our
actually, our
Whoa.
goal was to work with Bill Nye, and then it happened so fast that it was actually so weird.
we were
Now
just
that I
like,
think about it.
are we done?
Yeah.
And I
like-
remember getting on the
we
phone with
retired?
him like while I was teaching in the UK and being like, "Is that serious?"
Yeah, Greg flew from the UK to come film something
in New
for
York,
a channel,
and
with
that's
him
when
in
like
New
my
York.
students were like,
obvious.
"Whoa."
That'd be like, what's his name? Neil from Art Attack.
Yeah.
Reaching out to us in the first year,
Or the-
being like, let's collab.
Yes.
Also,
let's
want to
go
hear
up to-
something that gives me anxiety? I'm gonna barf all over your couch.
Yeah.
We recorded with Bill Nye 3 episodes, and I messed up the audio on the
On two
final
of them.
2, so we only ever released one.
We ended up filming with him again years later, but there were, and luckily the best episode was recorded, but he sat through like filming 3 episodes with us, and we were just like, oh, like the drive must have
Oh, I
glitched.
feel
or
But it
your
was,
pain.
it was such a, like, in retrospect, like, I remember at the time, when the Bill Nye one that we released came out, it was like the most popular video on YouTube that week. There was some way of knowing
Yeah.
that we were like, oh my God. And I remember we had the other one was about like sundials, no offense, Bill Nye, but it was like, what?
That one for sure.
Like, it was like, he loves sundials, and like, we were like, this isn't that interesting.
You're like,
You're
yeah,
like,
okay.
not
yeah,
relatable.
yeah,
What
Yeah,
about
yeah. It was like, why sundials are the best? And then what was the other one?
I forget.
But they weren't nearly as interesting. Like the one, it was
The
like
one we got
how
was the
to
best,
like
yeah.
act, like what to do if an asteroid is coming towards Earth.
Oh, that's
It
a
was
good one.
like-
That's a good one.
Yeah, so
I
it
want
did
to
really
know
well.
that.
I remember at the time we thought like, thank God we have a good excuse to not put these other ones out because they'll do so bad. But now I'm like, no, they had Bill Nye in them.
like
we
every-
should release them now. Like,
they don't
my
have
God.
audio, Greg.
Like literally no audio.
It's only audio from the camera versus from an actual mic on
Dude,
it.
whatever.
How bad is it? Like, I
Oh,
feel like-
also there was like a giant fan in the room. At this point, probably probably like we should look back and listen.
Oh my
to
god,
it.
do we have that audio?
I definitely have it somewhere.
LOL. Like,
Yes.
Bill Nye.
The actual mics weren't recording, if you know what I mean. So it was just off of like a bad mic from far away. Like you can hear it, but there's also like a.
But
Wait,
like
but did
subtitles are a thing now. Like honestly,
True.
we've actually
Let's look
gone.
at it.
Oh my god, man.
You gotta do like a voice dub where you like
Yeah.
speak
Okay.
over what you guys would have said.
Yeah.
Iconic.
So it was him on a white backdrop. You were more into him than like I never had cable and never watched Bill Nye.
What?
Oh my
Isn't
god.
that weird?
I know.
Yeah.
That's weird.
And
I was
I-
like, just
That was like-
pretend you love him.
yeah.
That was like it was also just like I know you never had cable, but like it was on like TVO.
Like, we
like
would watch it like in
It
school.
wasn't on TVO though, because I loved it. I think a lot of people watched it in school. I did watch it in school sometimes. But
wow.
there was like a documentary that is now released on Netflix about him that we're in, but they were like,
Wow, you guys are like in every freaking Netflix show ever.
wait, what? What other one?
Oh, sorry, I thought the
Paris
Paris
Hilton.
one.
Oh no, that was just me
documentary.
robbing her blind.
But
Stars are
that's
blind.
but you're also in a documentary, right?
Okay, yeah,
But
this
it's
one
like
we
a
were
CBC.
in, but then it was like, I was so bad. They were like, okay, Greg, sit on the stool. So, like, when do you remember first Bill Nye changing your life? And I panicked, and I was like, to be honest, he didn't. I never watched Bill Nye. I didn't have cable. I would watch it at my friend's house sometimes and, like, turn bright red, and then, like, ended, and then you sat down, and I'm
They're like, okay, Mitch, can you?
yeah, and to this, I don't. Like, I think that they show us in the. I haven't watched the documentary because I'm so scared of
I
like
watched
what.
it.
But they probably have you sitting down
It's just
saying.
no, it's just like one little moment that they got a bunch of different
Yeah.
like science YouTubers. It's like near the end when they're like, and he's inspired a whole generation of
That's
science
amazing.
communicators, and then we
Except for
have,
this guy.
like, he's like, yeah, no, I
To be
just found
honest,
it on
he
my own.
didn't.
That actually would have been hilarious. They should have put that in.
No, it was like that. You could tell the documentary makers were like, "Who the fuck is?" We were so young and like out of like we had no idea what we were doing. And I remember he showed up and he was like, "Where's hair and makeup?" And we were like, "What?"
Yeah, like he was really nice and easy
Yeah.
to work with, but it was that moment where we were like, this is a YouTube video. Like,
Yeah.
And he definitely like looked really red in it. Like it was really hot lights, and we were like, "Oh, like there's like makeup isn't like he's not being a diva. He's like I understand how
Right, it
Yeah.
this
comes off
world
on
works.
camera.
Like I
Yeah.
need makeup or else I look red." And I just oh my god, it was so interesting. And YouTube wasn't even a thing. We did it in a weird office. Like their office was in like a building. It was-
This is in LA or
This was in New York.
Oh,
but
New York.
it was YouTube's office, but they didn't have like the studios or anything
It was like
yet.
one floor,
They had
like
one little
cubicles.
room where they
Oh.
just happened to let us like use it out because if you know who Vsauce is, they were bought by YouTube, so they had a studio there.
yeah.
got it.
And
It's
so
just a
now,
tiny
but
thing.
now YouTube literally owns New York, or Google does. It does,
Basically.
like big chunks of New York. Like it's pretty crazy to think that not that long ago they had
Mm-hmm.
this floor in a building, and now they own Chelsea Market and the Port Authority building and all this stuff. It's crazy.
We like love it because we're on the right side of that, but
Right, yeah,
it is
yeah.
a little scary.
Yeah,
They
it's
own
wild.
like so much, quite the
Okay.
monopoly.
So you're getting so many opportunities, meeting Bill Nye, doing documentaries,
Telling
amazing.
Bill Nye you hate him.
No, I don't hate him.
didn't change your life.
He didn't change my life.
So then what? Quit jobs?
So at the time, Greg, I was basically like, you have to come home when your school year's done. You either need to quit your job or just like when the year's done, tell them you're not going.
And I was teaching at a small mining town on the southern tip of the UK,
Oh my
where
God.
60% of the kids' parents had never worked. Like it was so
rough.
challenging
Oh,
and
wow.
wild and like really interesting. But they're like, honestly, Sam, I fucking hate yous, and would like throw shit at me, light shit on fire.
Stop.
Literally the first day, because I did not understand, like, the behavior in England is a lot different. Like, teaching in Canada, like, it's a different culture. Like, the thing that what they teach you in schools about England is not true when you get there outside of, like, London. And so the first day I was like, we're going to do Bunsen burners. They burnt like a full lab coat. 'Cause I gave these kids lighters. Like it was crazy because like that's what you're
You did
supposed to
that.
do. And then they were like, oh my god, at one point, oh my god, they burnt each other all the time. They called me so many awful names. It was insane. It was insane. They put tacks in the front of their shoes so they would shoot out and be spiky, and they'd kick each other until they bled.
So you were glad to come home. Let's
Yeah.
say
Like
that.
I was.
It was bittersweet because I think you at the end of the year did like kind of
In the last,
change them.
like, honestly, in the first 8 months, I cried every day. I fell
would
into a
Skype
thing
them
of
every
lab
day.
coats and bawled my eyes out once after they, like just destroyed, like, my confidence. But then in the last, like, 3 months, I was actually sad. 'Cause
And
they
Greg told
came
me like
around.
one girl came up to him and was like, I used to hate you because I thought you were gay, but now I realize you're just Canadian.
You're like, yes, honey, that's true.
It. That's it.
And they were so unsupportive. Like, I went to this, like, teacher's college where literally I took a class called Queering Up the Classroom. Like it's like the TDSB, the Toronto School Board, is so progressive and they have your back. And it was like the whole point was like come out. Like that's how you control the classroom, which is true. And I eventually did come out to my students, and it does work because they're like, okay, we can't
like respect.
Yeah, they respect you more. And so they were all like doing limp wrists at me and like making fun of my voice and being like all this shit. And so I like went to one of the teachers and was like, oh, and they'd be like, that's so gay. And I would be like, you shouldn't say that. And so I went to the teachers and was just like, what should I say? Like when they say that's so gay, like should we go to the principals? And they were like, maybe you should just like leave it. Like maybe if you shouldn't maybe talk to them about that, because then they'll probably like get mad at you or something.
What?
I'm like, wait, what? Like it was crazy. Like they'd never ever heard of this in their lives. It was so bad. Also, oh my god.
Okay, Greg, you're going off.
Okay, I'm going off.
You came
But the
home.
principal, who I respected so much, later I come home a year later, find out he had a kid with one of the students who was
my God.
18 years old. So the principal, who was like telling me how to like do my job, the drama, has a kid with one of the students. Truly the worst.
In the UK?
In the UK, yeah. He's
Oh my
Did
he's
he
not
go
in
to
jail.
Oh,
He's not in jail because she was 18, but I
Oof,
always check
barely.
up on him. Okay, sorry, yeah. So I left that situation.
Then we came home and we both started full time.
Good.
Yeah.
And
No.
we slowly hired people.
Yeah, we had like over the time we were like, you start realizing like we need someone to help with social
Yeah.
media because that's a
Yes.
full job.
That was our
on its
first one,
own.
too.
Yeah, you're just like, it's so hard to manage all this, and then
Yeah.
we slowly started working with some contract writers who worked in science to help us with that stuff, and then brought on some editors, and then now we don't work with anyone.
Yeah,
But
we got rid
we've
of
had a
all
big
of our
transition
employees.
now.
Yeah, tell
But
us about that. That's crazy. You went from like having a team
Yeah.
of like what?
There was like 5 plus us, right? At some times.
Yes,
It rotated kind of in and out.
Yeah.
But, the core was probably like there was 6 of us that were there for a long time.
And now it's just you two.
Back
Yeah.
to just us
And that
two.
happened like over this last
Yeah,
summer.
over the summer. Yeah,
Yeah.
The summer we just took a couple months off. We've been doing it for a period, and we were just like, we really want to change what we're doing, sort of. As people, we've grown in different
Yeah.
ways and want to switch the style. And we felt so stuck in sort of this conveyor belt of creating content that was still exciting. We still loved it, but every time a video was done, it was time to start the next one, and
Yeah,
we
I
could
feel
never
that.
get time to step out and be like, I want to be a little creative. and
Yeah,
have a
would I
week-
want? Yeah.
Yeah, like how can I brainstorm about something bigger we want to do that
Yes.
doesn't take a week
Oh,
but takes 3
relate.
months, you know? So it took a while to finally be like, hey, this is the right decision for us. We just want to
But now there's 2 of us. It's like, oh, we don't
It's
have time to do
exhausting.
anything either. Like, are you kidding?
That is true, actually. Yeah.
The grass is always greener. There's been some major benefits to having the flexibility of our own schedules to say, like, we can work when we want and then when we don't, and take the time to work out what works best. But obviously now we're doing everything.
Yeah.
So it's like,
YouTube is a mental health challenge. It is
Yeah.
just so challenging. I think like that's I think what we're learning. Like you have to tweak things to try and figure them out, but
Yeah.
I think we're struggling a lot with just like how the whole system works. It's a lot. It's
Yeah.
like you
and
never
I think
feel
some people are, and maybe you guys are this way, maybe you're not, like some people are totally happy just to like build a business out of it, right? And want to just like get the most views, get the most money, get the most whatever.
we did want that for a long time.
Yeah, I
too.
think, and we
Yeah.
were doing that, but I think we hit a point where we were just like, if we realized we've lost our creative stimulation as part of
Yeah.
it, that was like for us, like we came into it being creative, like getting to change and challenge ourselves, and like we would write scripts and music and all these things, and it just became so much the same.
Yeah.
So I think it hit a point where we were just like, there are other channels that do this really successfully. They just hire 15 people, 30 people to write tons of scripts and produce like hundreds of videos.
Yeah.
But we were just like, we don't know if that will fulfill us.
Right.
Yeah.
And we don't know that we could give it to someone else to do, because we would always feel like precious and be like, oh, you're not doing it the way that I would
Yeah.
do it. And it's weird.
Yeah.
And we were always like, maybe it's because we're a little perfectionisty or like a little bit too controlling to let just like a team of people run with it without us.
Yeah.
And so for now, we've just been like, we'd rather focus on making less, but really have the chance to like be creative. But this is the new experiment for us as well.
Yeah.
Already we're like, we probably do still need some help from outside
Yeah.
sources, just maybe not like the full time, all the time for people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because you guys had a pretty like solid format of like for so many years of the content you were doing, right? Which was the whiteboard videos, which were really fun.
Yeah. And now we're even like, we stopped them for a while, but we're still like, how do we incorporate that? How do we bring it back? But how do we make it sustainable for ourselves?
Well, when you learn about YouTube, like we also like remember the time when the subscribers that you have would see your video. So
Yeah.
it was like would be pushed out to them, and we would get very consistent high amounts of views, and it was like so I never thought that it would change from that, but now we really understand. I know everyone talks about the algorithm, but it's like people don't. Not every one of your subscribers is going to see your videos. You have to figure out like literally what they want to watch. And so I think even now, if we're trying to be creative and switch things up, we're going to have to do a lot of experimenting to figure out like what clicks.
Yeah.
But even our whiteboard videos, like before we got rid of our team, we're still not doing nearly as well. It became a very saturated concept within the
market
field.
of what we do, of the amount of people that have come in, like big companies too, because for so long what we were doing was pretty unique in that you needed a science degree as well as like being able to animate and all these kinds of things. But once all the like even BuzzFeeds and Vox and all these companies started like realizing video was really a place to be, it became like everyone started asking these kinds of questions, and they had teams of people. They could bring in experts and scientists, and so
there were a lot of like channels that were literally built that were just like ours, and you could tell they just took our most successful videos and would do them again, and then the algorithm would like love them, and then we're like, should we just redo our videos? Like it's like crazy.
Wow. Yeah.
But I think I think like any creative industry, it's hard. You have to try and reinvent yourself. So I think that's what we're in the process of doing, but it doesn't come easy. And I think YouTube is. Like, we're going to watch you because reinventing yourself on YouTube is not something that many people have done.
No, yeah.
So we're like, it's not like there's
we're a case study for better or for worse, basically. So they're like, we'll
find
out if it's possible or not.
Yeah. And so it's like, that's why we're stressed.
No, I feel that, though. Like, YouTube is, like it's something that you can never really get too comfortable with, because once you start doing the same thing, it's like it doesn't work anymore.
Yeah.
And we've even experienced that maybe in more like minor ways than you guys have, but like our content since when we started is so different now. It used to be like smaller, easier, like bite-sized DIYs, but now you have channels like 5-Minute Crafts. One of the biggest channels on YouTube is doing these kind of like simple DIYs.
Yeah.
Oh, so you're like, okay, so we have to figure out how we do something different.
Yeah.
So it's like we can't really necessarily compete with this huge...
Absolutely.
I see those all the time. So what are there's just hands making them?
Yes, it's very much like Tasty did for food.
Right. Yeah.
It's 5-Minute Crafts does for DIY. But yeah, we've had to change too, and even like YouTube as a whole has become much more personality based, instead of like instructional when we started. So we could get away with hands making things, and people would watch that. But now I think if we tried to do that,
it's like
it doesn't work.
Yeah, people want to see like the real people and the real struggles of DIYing.
Yeah, the funny, we always tell people this story about how we used to always cut out all of our mistakes from a DIY. Like, nothing ever went wrong. This is exactly how it happens. But now people want to see us mess up and talk about that kind of thing. And it's like you have to just, I don't know, be receptive.
I feel like
that.
your content is so like high quality now too. Like it really comes off as that. Is that like are there other channels like that, or is that how you're like setting yourselves apart by being like our stuff actually looks really good and is like I don't know that much about the DIY like space or whatever.
I'm honestly discovering new DIY channels all the time, and I mean, even just the other day I found one and I was like, is this an HGTV show that's posted on YouTube, or is it just a YouTube channel? And I think it was just a YouTube channel.
Who
it's like
was it?
Flippers. I think it was called like Home Flippers or something. I mean, such a
so it's like that's obviously something that is like such a TV format.
Well, people are just making their own HGTV shows because it's like kind of not that hard. You just need the proper camera, proper audio, and like some decent editing, and then you got it. A lot of them are just time lapse too of like the renovations
happening fast.
Yeah.
Wow.
I do think though that we are kind of like in a tough spot though, like you're saying, where we have done like such sort of high quality stuff for a while that we don't want to step away from that. But YouTube is also forcing you to put out more content. Like the more you can, the better you do. And it's really hard to keep that level of quality and still put out like 2-3 videos a week is what YouTube's asking you for, right?
Because we were even just looking at a channel very similar to asapSCIENCE, and just like they put out like one like what if science type question a week, I guess. So they obviously have this huge team, and the way that they're edited and stuff, it's like there's no one in it.
I think it was more than one a week, wasn't it?
Yeah,
like 3.
So we're like, oh my god, like it's like even if we like it was just crazy. Like there's like it is true if you can like figure out a way to put out more stuff, and they had figured out that formula. Some of them just do so well because that's how the algorithm works. A lot of them don't. But then we're going to be making a lot less content, and then it's like, oh god, so we have to rely that like the random one that we put out does so well, but like there's no reason why it would or wouldn't, because your subscribers don't really matter in the same way.
It's true. There are so many different types of channels. Like there are channels that put out less, but then every time they do, it does really well.
Yeah. Like Shane.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's right.
Yeah, and
Yeah, there's a
Mark
handful,
Rober,
yeah.
he was like this. He is incredible.
He's like a science. He's an engineer. He worked for NASA. I'm not sure if you've seen his videos. Like,
Oh, yeah.
He like made the glitter bomb,
Yeah.
like
Yes.
thing that went
Yeah.
off.
That's
Like,
the one I saw.
so he does one a month, and then they get like sometimes
Do really
30
well.
to 50 million views,
Got
right?
it.
And that's
Every
it.
single one, and he's really, really cool and smart, and like is just like in that place where he's like, no, I make one a month. He has like all his sponsorships set up like a year ahead. And he just like has the confidence to do that, and it works. It's amazing because they're like, wow. Like, I don't know many people who can release a video once a month and then get 50 million views.
That is
right
crazy.
now.
I mean,
Yeah.
if you can, then you only
Yeah,
do
like-
need to put out one a
Yeah,
month,
I know.
right?
I'm like, that's the dream, I
Yeah.
guess. I wonder if he knows that. I guess he does.
You know, you're living the dream.
He's really cool too. I love
Yeah.
that.
So how do you guys like? How did you get like? I guess the confidence, or like, where did it start when you're like, okay, we want to change things? Because like
as of late.
yeah, because you've like you said, taken a huge change in your channel, which is really exciting, and like it's stuff that we think about, you know, not all the time, but it crosses your mind of like, should we do something different? But it's like you get so caught up on, no, this is what we're doing this week today. Like,
Yeah.
how do you?
It's so hard to be honest. Like the
Yeah.
sad part about it is that it was probably like the unhappiness that versus like
Yeah.
the confidence. It
Yeah.
was like being unsatisfied,
Yeah.
being stressed, being like I'm not ever getting time to do these creative projects I want to
Yeah.
do,
Yeah.
and that's like wearing me down. Is what
It was
definitely.
we were thought of it for a long time.
Yeah, I'd say it had been on our mind for a while, but it was that like lingering of like I have this idea I've been thinking about, but I never have a second to
Yeah.
even. And when I do, I'm exhausted and I don't
Yeah.
have like, the energy to do it. To finally be like, okay, yeah, it's not sustainable for me to feel unhappy. Like we kept trying to mold the thing we were doing to allow us to
Yeah.
fit in these things, and it just wasn't working. So it might just be the way we were organizing it wasn't working, and we're not. What we're working on now, as we realize there's just two of us, is to be like so much more regimented and scheduled and know exactly where our time is going, and that's something that we just aren't that good at.
But
naturally,
also,
I
we've
think.
changed our content, and our audience or the YouTube algorithm isn't responding necessarily to it.
Oh,
And,
true.
like,
Yeah, it also like isn't exactly working, so we're still like, hey, we have to keep experimenting and figure out. It's like this catch-22 where you want to make the stuff that you just care about.
Yeah.
But if that stuff isn't what other people want to watch, like when do you decide what the
Yeah.
amount is of people that you're willing to lose, right?
Yeah.
When do you decide it's a business decision or a creative decision? So it's like, I don't know if we have any proper answers. It felt good to take the risk to be like, we're doing this. But now that we're here, it's also like, okay, like now we pay the repercussion of like, are we okay with a smaller audience with this new style, or do we need to try and bounce back halfway? And
Yeah.
how do you, because of the algorithm, right? Like Greg was saying, and you guys know, in the old days, it was like, say you have 1 million subscribers, almost 1 million people are going to see your thumbnail, and then they're going to decide if they want to watch it. Now, if you release a video on YouTube, maybe 10% of that's going
Yeah.
to see it, and then if they don't click on it, YouTube's going to go like, actually, we're not showing anyone else.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Even
yeah.
within the first couple thousand views, they go, oh, only 5% of people are clicking on this. Let's not show very many people.
Yeah.
Or, wow, 30% of people are. I'm just going to show that to everyone in the world now.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly. Click-through rate.
Yeah, it drives you insane, right?
Yeah.
So you're like, how do you balance that into actually also creating content that you want to, and not go crazy being like, how do I make sure it identifies with the people who are
And
our current
I think
audience?
like one thing too that is worth always knowing is like what, I don't know, I guess spending the time to think like what are the ways that you could evolve, and really thinking about them, and just like putting the time into that. I think that's like really important. And even for us, like just today we were trying to figure out, okay, like what do we want? What do we actually like want? Yeah, there's this podcast called The Happiness Lab. It's like the science of happiness, and like every episode I'm like, this is the opposite of
Like, the
YouTube.
environment we're
Like,
in is not
it's
conducive.
crazy. It's like I mean, even you guys have each other. It's so good. It's like you need, for us right now, just the two of us, it's like you need to be around people. You need to like not have like grades or like literally like I thought of it as views decide your worth.
It's
like
true.
It's just like everything about it is like such a challenge to like
Yeah.
physiologically being happy, that there is a certain point where it's like we have to all be aware that we're like in a really challenging subject.
I have a thought. Now I'm putting on my like YouTuber friend helping thing.
With it.
Do you guys collab much?
Not often. We've tried to in the past. It was part of the reason we wanted to change our content too, because it was actually really challenging to collab with the whiteboard format,
yeah.
and like with someone like Bill Nye, it made sense. It was a perfect fit. He could be in the whiteboard, but we tried with a few others. Yeah, we've thought about like how do we bring that now into the work we're doing. But another aspect of it that's just challenging is like you realize there's just sort of like niche audiences. That doesn't mean they can't cross pollinate, but I do believe that like the science audience we're in like doesn't necessarily engage with a lot of like the famous, like even if we had say who is the most famous YouTuber right now, I'm not sure, but say it's like the Dolan twins or something.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know that our audience would necessarily respond to that positively or not. It's worth trying. Not that we can just like go get any YouTuber.
But I guess you don't have to go like that.
That's true.
You could go just like a little bit outside
Not
of your.
so far outside
Yeah.
of what we do. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's true. That's something that
we
we
should
need
be
to...
thinking about it, especially to build this idea that we're in our own videos now in a different way and get people excited with extra elements.
Because you guys are so lovable, so.
Yes.
Oh, that's nice.
That's nice. So I feel like
I
if
don't
you are
know.
out there in other people's videos, it would definitely help. I mean, we still do collabs, and it's just business-wise
It's like makes
makes
sense.
sense. Yeah.
And it probably is fun. Like, you actually get to hang out
Yeah,
and,
we
like,
get
meet
to
other
try something
people.
new. We get to do shipwreck-themed bedrooms when we normally wouldn't because that's
Yeah.
not our style.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's true. We need to like think about that more, maybe prioritize that more. And just I just think the entertainment industry is like, I don't know, I never planned to be in it. Maybe you did more because of film school, but I'm like, it's hard.
I never
Like,
planned to be in front of the
No
camera.
way.
I
Okay.
was in film school to make films, not to be
Yeah.
a personality. So like that part's, always hard to get used to. Like
But even then, it's like you would still have to deal with the fact that like you're making something creative, but within the realm of business. Like
Yep.
that balancing that line is always so challenging, and then you're still gonna have like a box office result or something. But I guess you
true.
get to feel less like it's your thing when you're working
Yeah.
for a bigger thing. You're like, oh well, that director messed up or whatever.
exactly.
Yeah.
How did you guys handle, I guess, then being like bosses of a team? Because this is always something that's interesting, like being a creative person, but then also having to do like sort of sometimes the less creative aspects of a business.
I think we were good at it for a while.
Yeah,
maybe.
it was still though one of the biggest challenge. I think like we were really nice bosses and really accommodating and had a good environment, but I do think we are fairly disorganized. Like because we are more creative types, it was like a little more hectic. Like our team might have been like, what's happening sometimes.
Yeah.
And I think it ultimately was not what I wanted to spend my time doing, right? That kind of led to that result as well, was like, I'm so trapped in helping other people and managing other people. Not to say that's all I could do, but a lot of times it was like, okay, yeah, if we want to make lots of videos, we need people helping to write scripts. So all I'm doing now is supervising other people
Yes.
writing scripts. And I was like, I just don't want to be managing people. I want to be doing the creative
Yeah,
work.
you need like an assistant or something, or a producer
yeah.
to be like, hey, I need you to write a script this
Yeah,
week and make
exactly.
sure that you're on schedule, but they can do all of that like
like,
organizational
managing.
business
Yeah.
versus the other way around.
Exactly. And we just
Yeah.
naturally, the way it happened is we brought on people, and then it was like we were managing people.
Yeah, I get that.
So that was a challenge for sure.
And
It
think-
worked for a while.
Yeah,
and
it worked. That's what I mean. I think it like worked really well, and it like ran its course. And I think we just had like a personal kind of like, it sort of just like fell apart. I don't really know how to describe it.
I do think it's hard because that's like the part of what makes YouTubers special is like no one can do what we do. Like we are so like heads of so many different roles. So then when you start getting a team or you start having to like delegate, it's like no one can do it the way you do it, right?
Yeah.
And it becomes really difficult. Like we always say, like our faces are in every video. How do we get it so we can do more and be in it less? But I don't know
You're like
how.
a limiting factor, right?
Yeah,
Like,
my mom's like,
Exactly.
"Are you ever gonna get another Sorry Girl?" And I was like, "I just don't think we can. I just don't think
It'd be
so."
really hard. Like I don't know. Like and I don't
Yeah.
know what the answer to that
I
kind
know
of thing is too.
it's such
right?
a challenge, and because like the way these things are grown, our channels is out of just
That's
like
why.
literally the two of you coming together and then probably doing it for a while before you hired anybody else.
Yeah.
And then it's so like kind of near and dear to you, and you really have to let go of a lot to let somebody else kinda
Yes.
take that over.
Yeah.
And you can see a lot of the people who are successful, they have that like business minded, like it's like I think a lot of people who end up in these positions as YouTubers don't have that. They're creative, and then all of a sudden you can see the people who are more business minded, and you see how it works because you're like, oh yeah, these are little businesses
They are.
that
Yeah.
are being run, and like as much as people don't know that maybe they are, like in the back end, like they are businesses.
Yeah.
I do think
So-
it's why too we're seeing so many channels like you've talked about, like Vox and Vice and 5 Minute Crafts. Like they're all business
so well.
companies.
Yeah.
They're just
Yeah.
hiring a face, and therefore they can churn out so much content because
Yeah.
the owners aren't like personally attached to every single video as much as the way
And some of
things
them
that
work,
we do
but then I
are.
feel like some of them obviously have struggled a lot too. Because I think about financially, I'm like, how do those companies make money? They have so many employees. Like,
Yeah.
they must be getting like venture capitalist money. Like I think that's what Vice has done.
And also sponsors. Like I know that like Refinery 29, like they'll get a sponsor, but it'll be across
Like a
everything.
whole-
It'll be like,
yeah.
oh, we'll put you on the website.
Yeah.
We'll put you in the video. So all of a sudden they can charge so much more money. They literally just like,
And they have sales teams.
Yeah,
Yeah.
those industries
Yeah.
they're much more set up. Like sometimes I hear how much like a Canadian TV show will charge for an ad, and I'm like, and that show gets like less views than all of us in this room. You
I
know?
know.
That's true.
And then it's like they're getting like so much money. It's
Or
just
whenever
like,
we go to the social and there's so many producers and like
Yeah,
they're
any
so
show that you go
thorough
to.
and I'm
it's a
like,
talk
what?
show in
Oh, yeah.
Oh
Toronto.
yeah,
Canadian
sorry, a
talk
talk
show.
show in Toronto. That
there's
is,
like 100 people working on it.
Yeah.
You're like, oh my god, like how many people are watching the show? I think it's like a few 100,000 people, which is
Yeah.
not nothing to laugh at. But when there's 100 people working there, you're like,
Yeah.
how is there enough money to sustain this? When, like,
And we can get those views with like the little six
Exactly.
people that make our show
you
happen,
could just
right?
film a vlog right now. You know what I mean? Like, it's a different world, and I think that world is set up to monopolize on like the business transaction in a way that it's much harder for us. So it's been a challenge
Yeah.
as those major players come into this YouTube industry.
Yeah.
A lot of them still aren't though in the same way. Like I wonder if the social has a YouTube channel that even gets enough views. Like they probably are still making their money from their ads
from the
on
traditional
TV.
world. Yeah,
For
that's what I
sure.
meant, yeah.
And they get a lot of money, I guess.
Yes.
And I've noticed on TV, they do not have to disclaim when they're doing an ad.
Oh, true.
They'll be like, oh, they'll
Just,
be
like,
drinking
holding-
like
yeah.
their
Out of a Coke cup.
out of
Yeah.
their Coke, and they won't
Yeah.
say anything. And meanwhile, we're like, hashtag ad, FTC don't come for me, like so many
Literally.
things.
Before we start this video, I want to let you know that Coke sponsored it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Calm
I'll tell you
down.
now.
Link in the
Stop
description.
yelling.
I
Well,
know.
we're a part of an ad campaign for YouTube like back in the day, and they really were like the reason for this is that we need to get the people at brands, like high up brands, to realize that YouTube is legit. And so
Yeah.
they're like, it sounds insane, but we're putting you guys on subways. So
I remember that.
like the head of Wonder Bread in
Taking
Toronto
the
sees
subway,
it,
yeah.
takes the subway and goes, that's legit. I'm like, that's the reason you're doing this. Like they're like, obviously they're like, yeah, we want you to be the face of YouTube and like exposure, but they're like, to be honest, it's that those people don't think YouTube is like valid yet,
Yeah.
and YouTube still talks
know.
about that all the time, and I'm like, oh my gosh, how
Yeah.
have they not?
Literally, when we were there the other day, they were just like, it's an
Yeah.
issue that people don't take YouTubers seriously
Yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah, I mean that's like for a variety of reasons, but it is interesting. Like advertising, it is simpler to be like it's on an ad that comes on at this time on this show. I can go sit down
Yeah.
at home and watch my ad play.
Yeah.
Whereas YouTube's like, you just have to trust us. Like we know it way better, and you're gonna get better results, but
Yeah.
you're not gonna be able to see your ad ever because you
It's
might
not
not be
made for your
watching.
demo.
That's true, actually, yeah. Wow, I feel like we should wrap things up a little bit. Can
Yeah,
you
we could
tell-
talk forever. I guess.
I know we can. I guess, well, you kind of told us a little bit, but what do you guys have coming up next?
Well, we just sort of canceled all the things we thought we were gonna do.
Wow, okay, yeah.
No,
We're
I mean,
really good at blowing shit up.
No, I
Fresh
think
start.
we're just in such an experimental phase that a lot of it's changing on the fly. And I think we're excited. Like there is a lot to play with, but
Yeah.
it's still that fear of the unknown. So
Like we're really trying to figure out how we can bring like the science communication skills that we have to talk about climate change, and we've been doing that recently, but it hasn't been resonating in the same way with our audience. We realize
Yeah.
because a lot of what people want from us is like fun, entertaining, and
And really
sometimes that's
simple.
challenging
Yeah.
to do with a very serious subject. So
Yeah.
right now we're figuring out, okay, we want to keep doing that, but how do we balance that with like what people have come to expect from us
Yeah.
and like make a slower transition rather than
Slow, yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
I remember Barack Obama said that in a famous quote. And when
Oh,
I
did
think-
he?
It was like, he was like, you can't turn a ship 45 degrees or it will tip. Like when he was as president, he was like,
yes.
it was like when he was going
like
into
even
the
if you know you
second-
want to get over
yeah,
there,
he's like,
you
guys,
have
just
to just,
trust
like,
me, like
slowly-
we're gonna get there. And like in my opinion, he did that. Oh, God, I love him so much. But I think that's something.
I think
that
that's a
we're
lesson
thinking
we're
about.
learning right
Yeah.
now, where it's like you sometimes have to. Yeah, we don't always have the most strategic mind because we get excited about things and we're like, let's just
We're
go do that thing,
creatives.
right?
Yeah, and I think I have a bit of like personally, I'm like sort of like I have a radical like thought process. Like I am kind of like cutthroat in my like opinions and things like that. So I'm like, okay, we're doing this, and then
But there's definitely an appetite for people talking about our environment, people talking
Oh,
about
for
like
sure.
and even someone like Greta Thunberg, like becoming such a face of a movement.
Yeah.
that's
obviously
so
there's
important. It's the
many-
most important thing in all of our lives.
so many people are talking about it. So we're definitely like encouraged to know that there's so many people out there, and it's just like how do we
do that
get
on
our
YouTube.
audience excited
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
it and the YouTube audience in general in a way that works for YouTube.
Yeah,
Because,
of course.
you know, documentaries that work on Netflix probably wouldn't work on YouTube. So
Yeah.
it's like, where do we belong in that field, and how do we use our skills to the people who are already listening to us? So.
Yeah,
That's
for
amazing.
sure.
Well, where can people find you and check out your journey?
asapSCIENCE across the board.
Yeah, I
right?
think everything is asapSCIENCE, except for TikTok is asapSci, guys.
Okay, wow, are you doing TikTok?
I would did a hot 2 weeks on it,
We just
viewing,
started
not
trying.
posting, but
It's
it's so
addictive.
it's
It's
so that's
so
why I had to
addictive.
quit it.
Yeah, it's
I had to quit it
actually,
cold
like-
turkey, man.
Oh, okay. You're sorry.
What?
You're gonna love this because
What?
I watched TikTok videos. I watched them on YouTube though. Like this is
The
I
compilations
cannot
and
leave YouTube. The TikTok trend about the chair. Have you seen this one? How girls can pick up the chair and guys
Oh
can't.
yeah, I seen
No.
that.
Can you
over by the-
explain it?
I don't know. I've only
Science
seen it.
behind
Wait,
it.
what are you even talking
should
It's
do
about?
like
Science
there's
of
this rule where
TikToks.
it's like you bend over in a certain distance from the wall, and then there's a chair, and for whatever reason, I'm assuming it's true because there's so many videos on it. Like girls can do it, but guys always follow.
Okay,
Guys-
thanks for our new video idea.
Yeah.
Literally,
Welcome.
this is
It
how.
actually is.
Wow.
If you guys don't know, some of your really popular ones too are like the dress,
kinda
like the
like
science behind the
illusion
dress,
and,
the
like,
science behind
yeah.
Yanni and Laurel.
Okay, I need to see this video. I'm
It's-
so
there's
excited.
a
Oh
lot
my
of
god,
them.
go
There's, like,
home
so
and
many.
make it.
TikTok
Yay.
is so funny.
I would like to know why.
Yes. Oh my
And like
God.
now we get the TikTok audience, like bam,
Yes.
second wave, here we go. And also you guys have a podcast. You're still recording?
Oh, that's
Yeah.
true. Yeah. So it's called Side Note.
Yeah.
If you girls ever want to come on, and it's just like a fun little. It's more casual version of us talking about science in a way that's a little more approachable for us to just like kind of chat. about
Yeah.
We
pop
like
culture
talk
and
about
stuff.
studies about controversial subjects, and then
Yeah.
we like sort of infuse in our like personal opinions on something like the streaming wars. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure. Everyone go check out asapSCIENCE.
Yeah, Greg and Mitch, they also have personal Instagrams. You want
We do. We're like starting to like try and like. This has been a big conversation. Where we're like, we should just use one Instagram because people look us up as asapSCIENCE. We do have our own. Mine's Mitchell Moffat. Greg's is
Mine's
Whale
Watch
Me,
PPLZ. Maybe a good example of why that's like a horrible name.
Bad branding, but funny. So yeah, you can check us out there. We do use them occasionally.
Fantastic.
Well,
All
thanks
right.
so much for listening, guys.
Yeah, make sure you guys are rating and subscribing here and downloading and listening. I don't know.
And you can also watch the video of this.
Hi, video.
Our second channel, The Story Life.
Yeah, and we will talk to you guys next time.
Peace.
Bye-bye.